Hello, my friend. It is, what are we on? The 4th of June with our quilting challenge, Jumpin' June. I'm Pat Sloan, and you are here for my daily challenges, and we are doing free motion quilting. So on the calendar today, I give you all the sort of hints as to what we're doing. So today is stand behind the line. Lines are something you can do free motion. And you don't really have to have a ruler and things like that if you're doing just short segments. And I've also found that some people actually free motion lines a lot easier than they do curves. Like their brains just like that motion, and sometimes it helps to actually do that first if that's easier for you, and then sort of graduate into the curves. So let's take a look at what I mean by lines. What I mean by lines. So let's get out our paper here, our trusty paper. And a line would be doing very angular quilting. So that, let's say you have an inner border like this. So you might want to do this. That would be lines. You're going back and forth, back and forth. And so it's this motion. I'll do it on the little sampler then. You might also just, try to make sort of, I think of these as like Greek key kind of shapes, so maybe you would come out like this. Maybe you would, do something over like that. So they're all sort of angular. You're not doing curves like this, which some people find the angulars better. So let's see, I'm going to move the butterfly for a minute, and we will come back to the butterfly. And let's take the sample sandwich, which yesterday, before we do this, yesterday you had a lot of you were sharing really great pictures of your progress and what you tested and what you were trying. You had some questions for the Ask Debbie post. So my friend Debbie Brown, who is helping out, giving you some advice. She knows a lot about. It's all she does is teach free motion and quilting. That's all she does is teach the quilting part. I had thought, excuse me, seeing what some of you were doing, that also might help besides trying the angular, the lines, is that there is a speed control on many of your machines where you can go slow to fast. And I know a lot of you have found that because when you're doing patchwork, you might like to actually sew more slowly. So that is a thing that you can try for your free motion. So if you feel like you don't have quite as much foot control yet, like you can't sort of manage that speed, if you take the dial on the machine and bring it down, then you can push the pedal down further. You could keep your pedal down, pedal to the metal, and then take the machine speed lower, which means it'll go slow. So give it a try if you have this, test it. I'll show you here when I'm doing the lines. Okay, we have to get in close. Get in close. Let's bring it on down. So this takes a second. And then tonight I am going to be quilting more on the butterfly because I'm going to show you something in a second I'm doing on my calendar. So, whoops, I'm on the cord. There we go. Okay, so we are in a linear mode now. So I need to pull the thread up, needle down, needle up, and then I can pop the bobbin thread up so that I don't get a big old rat's nest underneath, and pull this back, just a couple of stitches in place. And then if I want to, let's go a little bit closer in and adjust. There we go. So I've got the speed really low right now. Like I cannot go any faster than that. And to do that, I have to move my hands super slow, super slow. So it's just not me. So I'm going to push it up. That's the same foot speed, which is too much. I have to either adjust how far down I have it. Now I'm doing angles. Just come over here. Maybe I want to do something like this. Just around, taking it into a little boxy shape. and then sort of outlining it, go back in. But just going forward and backwards in like a chevron or a peak is really nice too, because that lets you sort of have some control. There we go. I think that's a better angle. There we go. I'll be quilting towards me like that. You can see it a little better. Now that would be good for an inner border. You could use this on an inner border, and that might be something for you to try, or just overall your quilt. I mean, if you wanted to come in, do like a big sort of boxes like this. I sort of think of these, like I said, as a Greek key. Then you can come back out just a little bit from the edge of it, and then go and make another shape. And they can be angled, they can be different sizes, you know, just play around with what you're doing. And if they overlap, that's fine. If you don't want it to overlap, don't overlap. It's all about, you know, you have all the control over how you're designing this. So the feed dogs are down, remember, and you can have the speed control up here to decide, you know, what you really want, what you really want to have going on. If you're feeling like you don't have enough control, that's where the speed will really, you know, come in useful. So I did, let's see, if I get this, here we go. So I did a little bit yesterday on around the rows that I did. So I did the rows, and then I want to show you what the background is going to look like. If I'm going to create a background like that, where, you know, I went around all of these leaves. See if you can see that. And then I also went over the rainbow. Here, let me get it back here. Okay, so I went over the rainbow, came back, and then went back out again. And then I started doing the loops over here and got that rose. So for me, what I want to accomplish now is to do a lot of this, you know, get this background finished, outline all of the shapes, outline all of these big butterflies, and then I will show you next what to do inside large shapes like this, which I also realized I probably should get something for patchwork after we do the panels a bit, because of course, you know, none of you want to mess up the quilts that you spend so much time sewing on. That's why we're doing panels, because you didn't spend any time on the panel, but you have all this great practice you can do for just the price of the panel, and that's great. I want to also talk about the dream panel, which is the great big flower. So for those of you who want to sew that, what I suggest you do is take on your paper and make some big petals. So, you know, just draw like some big petals. That would be sort of like a dream petal. And then, you know, it has, you know, another one out there and another one, you know, out there. But take the petal and draw, sort of starts just sketching, like maybe you want to do an outline. If you look on, you know, Pinterest, a dream panel, you can see lots of people's versions, but a lot of times they'll outline each one so that they give a definition. And then in here you might decide, well, what do I want to do? Maybe I want to do something like this, like a great big fern, and then maybe I want to make little, you know, like little loops off of it, or little, you know, could go like that. In here you could do something else. You could do like maybe tendrils. I could think of this like a fern plant, and that could be what you do in one petal. And then you could take another petal, make that one smaller so I have room, and then here I'll turn him your way. Now on this one you might decide to do something else. Maybe you want to do some great big circles like this, and then, you know, come out and do like another great big circle, and then maybe you want to do a third big circle. Then maybe you want to just outline them. Here you go. So that gives you a plan, so you know when you go down to sit that this is where you're going to go with it. To still do it all more casual, so it's not real structured in your quilting with this practice. That is, I think, more beneficial, because if you get super structured and you don't really have sort of all the mechanics of it yet, this is just getting the mechanics, but you have to have a purpose, and that's what the panel is. The panel gives you the purpose for what you're going to quilt and what you're going to practice. Okay, last thing is I've decided to put on the calendar every day which panel that I quilt. So I have a goal. How many weeks? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 weeks and then a couple of days. And my goal will be, for me, it'd be really cool if I could do at least 3 panels, or, you know, maybe 2 panels and a top, you know, and I'll probably start the dream, but I know that I won't, you know, quilt all of a dream because it's bigger and has a lot more area. But I want to do this panel, and maybe I'll do Paris, and then maybe I'll do a patchwork. Maybe I'll start the dream. I want to mark and see like what I'm actually working on. So you might want to do that. Okay. Thank you, everybody. All the links are down below, so you can download your calendar and anything else that I talked about. And I will see you online. I love you. You're doing great. Can't wait to see what you do today. Mwah. Bye-bye.